Hey, what's up? This is Kaiser. You're of course listening to me on Super Trainer, and today I've got a crazy guest. If you can hear that in the background, that's the Godfather music playing, because the guy I've got is pretty much the godfather of marketing in the fitness industry and in general the entire marketing industry. It's Ryan Lee. And a real pleasure to have you on, man.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be here, Kaiser.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I call you the Godfather of this business because the impact you've had really, you can't put a dollar figure or really try to estimate it. I mean, when you talk about not only the marketing people out there, but all the fitness products, basically anything when you go into a bookstore, anything you see on the bookshelves, any product you buy, anything going on anywhere in the fitness business, it has in some way a root to you, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, so again, it's a pretty crazy accomplishment and credit you have there to your name. But yeah, I'm glad to have you on here.
Well, yeah, no, I appreciate that. It is pretty cool though, like going into the bookstore and seeing so many people that I've kind of helped along, who came up to me years ago, like, oh, I want to train, but what do I do? How do I spread the word? And you see all these guys with, big books like Alan Cosgrove and Mike Boyle and Eric Cressy, and they're all, like in the bookstores, and it's just cool. And then forget online. I mean, all the guys with the ebooks, the seminars, the certifications. But I'm just trying to. I really got in this to try to help fitness professionals, because that's what I was. A struggling fitness professional. Learn these secrets to leverage their time better. And my initial goal was just to help them earn some extra income. If you could earn extra $300 to $500 a month, supplementing what you do, it could make your life a little bit better. But I really, to be honest, I didn't know when I first started that it would turn into what it's become.
Yeah, no, it is pretty amazing, and we're pretty lucky to have a guy like you because I think the fitness industry as a whole, we're really forward thinking, we're really entrepreneurial, we're really out there trying to reach a lot of people. And a lot of that does relate to you. Why do you think that you had such an impact? What part of your message, or what is it? I don't know. Was it your enthusiasm? Have you ever tried to think? Have you ever thought about it? Why it is that your message hit home so well?
Well, first I think one of the reasons it was really good timing, because I was kind of really the first one to. I was in the internet early. Like I first site back in like late '98, and I was the first sports training website back at that time, and I think I hit it early. But I was also, in fact, it kind of hindered me, because I remember I spoke at a seminar in like maybe 2000, and I said, by show of hands, how many personal trainers here have email? And only about half raised their hand. I mean, could you imagine that today?
Wow.
And I
yeah.
do. I mean, I still speak at events, and I was like, how many trainers have an email? And they kind of laugh at me, like I have 30 email accounts, But I think timing. I think the message was right. I think myself being a person who was in the same shoes. I used to train my first client at like 6 a.m. I'd work a full-time job at the Children's Hospital, and then I would train clients at night, and I would start up programs in gyms, and I was studying for my master's in exercise physiology. So I lived the life for a long time, and I saw a lot of good trainers that leave because they're like, look, I can't pay my bills, I can't live this lifestyle, I can't see my kids. So I think the message was right, teaching them that, hey, I'm a regular guy. I was able to build this extra income, and I could show you. And, I think personality does help. The fact that, I'm a pretty, people tell me I'm a pretty friendly guy, and I'm pretty easy to relate to. I don't hopefully come off as really arrogant. Like and I try to be honest and always operate from integrity. I've been taught for a long time that integrity is it. You have to, everything you build upon, that you have to have that integrity. And have I made mistakes? Hell yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. Some of the marketing that I've done, that I did early on, I started listening to these guys, and I'd say things that weren't 100% accurate. They were true, but, you kind of twist it a little bit. And but what I started saying, forget that. I'm just getting back to integrity, everything. I'm keeping to my word. And people kind of get behind you when they know you're going to lead them the right way. And I think so. Just that.
Mm-hmm.
All those kind of things kind of coming together as a perfect storm. And putting out my first program and really focusing, delivering, and this is, all these things are good messages for everyone listening to this right now, focusing on really putting yourself in your client's shoes. So if you're a personal trainer and your client is a 50-year-old housewife and they want to lose 10 pounds, like put yourself in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
If it was your mom reading the email or your sister or your aunt, would you feel comfortable selling your product or your service?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of results are they going to get? And really try to deliver at least 10 times the value. I mean, I had one of the first products I did was at Sports Training Profit, and it was like $199. And I talked to Alan Cosgrove like a week ago, and he said, he's like, it's amazing, that product, that $200 product, has made him in addition to all his training income, he said a minimum of an extra $2 million.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
That $200 product, because I really want to put a lot of value in. But it's also guys who take action. If you listen to, like, it's funny that one guy like Alan Cosgrove, and when he first got it, he wasn't known at all. You can take a $200 product, implement this stuff, make $2 million, and then you can have other people who buy the same exact product and send it back after a day and say, oh, this is crap, it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy how that is, yeah. Yeah, I think you're a little bit modest there, because it's not just the fact that you came at the right time and all of that. I think you stand for a lot of what it is that makes the internet tick, what makes it effective. I think one of the things that I really I look to you for, that you're the best example of, basically of anybody doing anything online, is the whole speed of implementation. Really putting something out there in a usable form, getting it out there, making it affordable, getting it in people's hands. I think that's something that you do that no one really can match, and maybe it does get you a little bit of flack sometimes. But can you talk about that, like just how the whole internet mindset, getting things, that key hardcore information into people's hands quickly?
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. It really is about speed. I mean, there's one guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but if he's listening to this, he'll know who he is. He's bought every one of my products over the years. He was on that first call with Alan Cosgrove and all the other guys. And back then, he had basically finished the book. And it's now, I don't know, 8, 9 years later, and he still hasn't released it. Whereas in that time, I've probably released 1,000 products. Mm-hmm. You just have to... With fitness professionals, a lot of people in general, but especially with fitness professionals, we really are cognizant of what we're putting out there. And a lot of us are perfectionists. And we're like, look, if I'm going to put a book or an e-book, I don't want it to be 100% perfect. I want every photo to be perfect. I want all the forms to be perfect. I want every program to be perfect. And, they overanalyze.
That's not even what the... Yeah. I was just going to say that's not even what the internet's about. I mean, even with your $200 product, it's more about putting out a few key pieces of hard-hitting information that'll make a big monumental difference in people, not having a ton of just perfectionist stuff out there, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's also a big, I think something where trainers get it wrong in particular, and because your site is for fitness professionals, this is what we're going to focus on. There's a lot, look, people want, when it comes down to it, if you think about your clientele, unless you're just training athletes, but in general, people are going to see a trainer because they want to do one thing, and that's to lose weight. But there's also 1,000 different ways you can find your hook, and that's the key, is you got to find a hook. Like, what is going to make you different? What's going to make your program different? Is it